This is a throwaway account because I am so annoyed and need to vent. This will be a lot, so I am sorry in advance. I, 28F, had been together with my husband, 27M, for nearly 10 years. We got married at 21, had our first son a year later, followed by our daughter 3 years after. I built my whole life around my family. We got good jobs. He worked full-time, I worked from home, we had a nice home in a great neighborhood, and we put our children in good schools. We also had a successful business on the side. I thought we did everything right. My best friend, since we were in middle school, lived close by. We had our daughters around the same time, and we would have playdates frequently. We leaned on each other a lot. I gave her all the support I could when she was dealing with issues with her daughter's deadbeat father and got her in contact with a good lawyer. I leaned on her when I was recovering from my traumatic second birth and the depression that followed. We leaned on each other for everything. 10 months ago, I found out I was pregnant for the third time. I was really uneasy about it because of my traumatic experience the second time. Also, my husband and I had both agreed we were done after our 2 children. I considered abortion, but my husband insisted we keep the baby. I was still uneasy about the pregnancy and borderline miserable for the next 6 months. I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum and was throwing up 20 times a day for 6 months straight. I lost a lot of weight, had to stop working, and was sent to the hospital frequently due to severe dehydration. My husband stood by me and showered me with attention, for which I was so grateful. He cut down his hours at work to look after me, the house, and the kids. My best friend would come to our home frequently to check on me and also help with the house. When I hit 6 months, the hyperemesis gravidarum decreased significantly, and I was almost back to myself. One night, after having a movie night with my family, my husband and I were getting ready to sleep. He fell asleep right away while I quickly checked on the kids before getting into bed. His phone was vibrating like crazy, so out of genuine curiosity, I unlocked it. We used to do this a lot when we were younger, so I didn't think too much of it. I was already sitting in bed. I saw messages from my friend. They were frantic, spam-like messages. One of them said, "Please come over, I need you." Another said, "I know I shouldn't be messaging here, but I miss you," and "Come over when she's asleep." I think I sat there in a daze for nearly 5 minutes. I cried quietly, and the fatigue just left me. I scoured his phone, looking for more. I saw emails and direct messages from them both, even using apps like Kik to communicate, along with pictures. But the worst part was finding out my husband left me one time in the hospital with my mother while he went back home, where my kids were being babysat by my friend, and got intimate in our bedroom, with our kids in the house. I kicked him out the following morning after confronting him and filed for separation shortly after. For the next 2 months, he begged for forgiveness, then complained and insulted me, saying I wasn't letting him see his kids or that I was stopping him from going with me to doctor appointments, which I had been. We had planned months earlier who would be in the labor room. It was going to be my mother and my husband. He called me when I was 35 weeks, questioning the labor situation. By this point, he had moved into my ex-friend's house. I said no, and he became very angry. Many of my in-laws and family members told me to put our differences aside for the baby. I still said no. I gave birth to my son with my mother and sister present, and did not feel any regret about my choice. After my second traumatic birth, I just wanted to ensure this one was as stable as possible, which it was. We were going to name our child after his father, who passed away. I went along with it to make him happy but changed my mind and picked a name I had loved since childhood. This aggravated him even more. Am I the jerk? Because I am being guilt-tripped by many people right now. All I want is for everyone to leave me alone so I can be with my kids. Edit, just wanted to add that I do let him see the kids. That would be crazy if I didn't. My children love their dad. I just have certain boundaries now that we aren't together, and he doesn't respect them. He gets angry and says things that are categorically untrue. He got to meet our newborn son hours after I gave birth. Top comments. Commenter 1, NTA. This is a scenario where you should feel safe and comfortable. He was cheating and left you in the hospital, so you shouldn't listen to him. Commenter 2. Lots of my in-laws and family members told me to put our differences aside for our baby. You can tell every one of them that you put the safety of your baby and yourself ahead of someone else's wants. You made the right decision. They should be grateful you had enough strength to put your lives and safety first. NTA. Commenter 3, NTA. How could you have a stress-free birth with him in the room? Why did he even feel entitled to ask? Commenter 4, absolutely NTA. Your soon-to-be ex-husband and your ex-friend are both monumentally huge pieces of garbage. Wow. I am so sorry. I hope you find someone else to love and love you after this is all settled. Update, 11 months later. So, I'm back after nearly a whole year. I completely forgot about this post because I've been so wrapped up in other things. For anyone who doesn't want to read the whole post, here's a summary. My husband had been cheating on me with my best friend while I was pregnant. I was close to giving birth and decided not to have my then husband in the labor room with me. I also chose a name for our baby that he didn't agree with. Like I said, it's basically been a whole year. My baby turned 1 today, and after celebrating his birthday and Christmas with my kids, it finally hit me this is my new reality. First of all, my ex-husband and I finally went through with the divorce proceedings. I had been holding it off during my pregnancy and early postpartum period to avoid added stress and to carefully plan for my children and myself. I was awarded primary physical custody of our children. Their dad visits once a week, and the 2 older kids, 7 and 4, spend every other weekend with him. My youngest will start doing the same in a couple of months, which makes me nervous. He's especially clingy with me. All my kids are, but my youngest has really only known me as the most present parent. One of the main stipulations in our custody agreement is that my ex's affair partner is prohibited from seeing the kids. My poor kids have been confused enough by their parents' sudden split, and I didn't want them even more confused by seeing their aunt, who was supposed to be mommy's best friend, with their dad. It was deemed emotionally detrimental in court. As for the baby name, he's still bitter about it. His side has been trying to convince me to change the name to something we'd both like, especially after the divorce was finalized. But it's been a year now, and the baby quite literally responds to the name I gave him, so I'm not going to change it. He was also unhappy with the child support payments and other payments, and he asked for some revisions. One main thing he wanted to change was the cost of our kids' school tuition. He pays for their tuition, which he felt was too much and too harsh. But the court stuck with the original payments. As for my ex-husband and ex-best friend, they continued dating. I found out they had started seeing each other a month into my 3rd pregnancy. They had actually slept together during my 2nd pregnancy but didn't pursue a relationship then because, as they put it, they weren't ready to ruin things and didn't want to hurt anybody. My ex's side has been very supportive of their relationship, even inviting her to holiday gatherings like Thanksgiving or family holidays. Because of this, my kids don't go to these events very often. After all of this, I've come to the realization that perhaps my ex's side never really liked me all that much. But that's okay. I eventually spoke with my ex-best friend to ask why they did it. She claimed they were just friends but grew close while she was dealing with issues involving her deadbeat ex-boyfriend. Both of them insisted that my ex-husband just wanted to protect her, which supposedly turned into love. Hearing this hurt me a lot, but at the same time, I felt relieved to know the truth. When I sat with this information for a while, it stopped hurting. It made me realize I didn't still love my ex-husband and could finally let go of him and their betrayal. They broke up a week ago. Apparently, it's just a break, though who knows. Although my kids go to their dad's house every other weekend, it has helped a lot with making time for myself. Obviously, I'm figuring out who I am without being a wife or mom all the time. In many ways, I find what happened to be a true blessing, which is why I'm no longer angry. As for me, I've been seeing someone. It hasn't been very long, nor is it very serious yet, but we get along great. Initially, my ex-husband made the whole situation difficult. He didn't want me to have any man, specifically, around the kids. Edit. I don't know how to do update posts, so my apologies if it's wrong. This is likely the last update. Just wanted to check in to let everyone know I'm okay. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Did he break up with the ex-best friend after he learned that you are seeing someone? OP. I started seeing this guy in October. He found out about it in late November. Commenter 2. Good job. Never let that snake friend back into your life, even if she comes crawling back now. OP. She claimed I had not been the greatest friend to her at times during our very long friendship either. Commenter 3. None of us are perfect, and most of us can't be the greatest friend all the time, but that doesn't mean we sleep with our friends' husbands when they aren't the greatest. She's literally the worst. OP. I felt like strangling her in that moment. I couldn't think of a single thing I did wrong that could warrant her doing that to me. But it is what it is.